Hello everyone, welcome to this patch review. We have finally got a new patch in Retold, and obviously the last patch was the big fortifications patch, and a lot of people really liked it, a lot of people really disliked it, so I expect this patch to be some fine-tuning to the last patch that we saw. And we'll just get right down to the nitty-gritty, looking at balance. There's a bunch of fixes and other stuff, as there always is. I will link you this URL down in the description. But first things first, we got villagers no longer has a bonus versus siege weapons. I think that's a great change, and the reason for it is that the way that the game is currently played, it seems like ranged siege just outperforms melee siege. So giving not having this multiplier for villagers just makes a lot of sense. It also says bonus damage multiplier versus towers increased from 2.5 to 4. And I think that's in large part to deny the Chinese tower rush with the military buildings. If you don't know, if you have a Chinese barracks with a tower employment on it, then you actually get this bonus as well. So if someone tower rushes you with the Chinese military buildings, you just send villagers after it, and that should really do a really good job now. It also says just maybe versus Kronos or so, whatever. It's a good change, I think. Siege weapons crush armor increased from 70% to 85%. This is so that whenever you have Petropolis versus siege crossbows or catapults and all these kinds of ranged siege weapons, they cannot effectively counter opponent siege weapons. They should counter buildings, but not opponent siege weapons. They're still going to be decent, I think, but it's like effectively a 50% reduction in damage versus siege weapons. So once again, I think this is good. We saw some really weird fights in the last patch where it was like 6 Petropolis versus 7 siege crossbows, and both players just spamming siege and throwing those at each other. I don't think that was healthy, so I'm looking forward to this. This should make things a bit more dynamic. So for buildings, it says town center attack range reduced from 20 to 18, and all buildings have their damage increased from contained units reduced from plus 5% to plus 30 to plus 3% per unit. So the first one here from 20 to 18 range, effectively what it means is that taking down towers is now easier, which is great because if any of you played Kronos or Uranus or went for some form of Heimdall rush or anything like that, you will have noticed it was near impossible to take down towers. And with this change, I think that should definitely be a lot more doable. So it's a great change. Towers are still quite tanky, especially in the early classical age, so don't expect the game to all of a sudden be super aggressive early on, but it does mean that Kronos, Promethean Rush for example, or even Loki Heimdall Rush, stuff like this, will be a bit more viable now. And even when you have like 10 raiding cavalry, 10 Hibius or so, you can take down a tower without fearing the town center too much. And for the second one here, basically what that means is that if you have 20 villagers and you quickly garrison into a Migdal, it will no longer effectively double the damage from that building. Still going to be plus 60%, which is a lot, but it's a nerf to that particular interaction. Especially that when you have 20 villagers and you garrison inside a town center or a Migdal, it just seemed oppressive. And now it says fortress type buildings have had their build time further increased to compensate for their previous increase in power. And it doesn't say details, but it's good. Fortresses, especially Migdals and the Greek fortresses, seem to be quite oppressive when you can block those up really quickly. Relations damage bonus multiplier versus cavalry reduced from plus 50% to plus 25%. This technology was very, very strong. This technology was buffed last patch, not only in the sense that towers got a plus 60% increase in damage, but then this technology in and of itself was also buffed. So it's a nerf, reverting it back to the way that the technology was before the last patch. But keep in mind, there is still that towers are still buffed from the last patch. So crenellations is still going to be very, very good. Still going to ensure that you hit the cavalry as well. Watchtower cost increased from 200 wood, 100 gold to 250 wood, 150 gold. Watchtower, is that the upgrade? I think so. So that's the upgrade to get it. Now costs 400 resources instead of 300. It's a significant change, and it does mean that early on, you're not going to be, you're going to have to invest a little more to really protect your base. And I think we did see it was a bit too cheap, a bit too easy to just rely on buildings to defend entire economies. So this is an attempt at making it more costly to just allow buildings to be your primary defense. Advanced fortifications, fortress type building damage increased from plus 30% to plus 50%. And then it says fortress type building damage has been shifted more into the advanced fortifications technology. We'll get to that later. So what I expect is that a general nerf to fortress type buildings, and then if you really want that super high damage, you can still get it, but you're going to need that advanced fortifications, which for the record costs 1200 resources to get to. So it's expensive, but you can get there. Eras of Alfar, really good relic with the fortifications buff, slightly nerfed. And 5 Colored Stone of New are no longer part of the normal relic pool. That's the one which made repairing 50% cheaper. It sucked. You'd never really grab it, unless you wanted the favor part. So here we get to the Greeks. Dionysus, bronze, god power, duration reduced from 45 to 40 seconds, and it no longer works on allies. So a lot of people who play team games said this was super oppressive to play against for this reason, that it worked on your allies. So really good change in that regard. I'm sure a lot of team game players will love this. And then just a general nerf because bronze is very, very, very good. Poseidon seemed in particular to make very, very good use of this. Nemean Lion, special attack, stun, and snare duration now scales by plus 20% in the Mythic Age. And Chimera cost reduced from 350 food, 30 favor, to 300 food, 28 favor. So I guess both of these units were a bit underused, perhaps, Chimera in particular. And then the Nemean Lion actually scaling into the Mythic Age is also kind of interesting. I wonder if we'll see more of these in this game, in this patch. Human units, what does it say here? Myrmidon train time reduced from 10 to 6.5. Heteroi from 11.5 to 8, and Gastropheteros from 13 down to 9. So Gastropheteros, I think, and even Heterois are the big winners here. Myrmidon, I don't think that unit is very good. Mostly good if you go for Hera and you get that upgrade that relates to them. But Heteroi and Hetyros and Gastropheteros, I think we're going to see potentially some real use of these, especially if you go for Hephaestus with Heterois and Artemis with Gastropheteros. Gastropheteros 9 seconds. Like, this was the biggest reason whenever I played Hades, I never really bought these, and the reason was that it took way too long. But if you get the levy upgrades from your archery range, this works on these units as well. So you can actually take down 40% of these 9 seconds, making it what, like 6 seconds, even less than that. It's gonna be really sick, actually. Go to the Mythic Age, get both levy upgrades, and then you're gonna be able to spam out these things really quickly. And same with Hetyros, to be honest. So this is gonna be impactful. Greek gonna be even better with their Mythic Age spikes with this change here. So here is where we get to fortress damage reduction from 15 down to 12.5, and build points increase from 135 to 150. So that's only like 10, 11, 12% increase in building time. Not that bad. Not that bad at all. It's a slight nerf, to be sure. And the damage reduction is a significant nerf. So that's good. I do think maybe the fortifications buff was overdone a bit. So this is definitely trying to fine-tune it so that everyone is happy with this change. For Egyptians, Ra, Priest, and Monument Aura empowered building attack interval multiplier reduced from 0.6 to 0.85. What is this? This change is to match the adjustment made to the Pharaoh Empowerment attack interval multiplier, ensuring priests' monuments remain at 60% relative power level compared to the Pharaoh. Not entirely sure what it means, but it just means that priests have that 60% relative power. That's about all I need to know. Sobek Dark Water Technology cost increased from 175 food 12 favor to 200 food 18 favor. This was a very good technology, and it remains a really good technology. Camels are Probably your most important unit as Egyptian in the Heroic Age and onwards. So this technology plus 15% HP and innate regeneration, it's an exceptional technology. And for this cost, 200 food, 18 favor, you're still gonna get it. Still gonna prioritize this above pretty much anything else. Really, really good technology. Sun-Dried Mod Brick nerfed. Again, build points reduction reduced from -25% to -15%. So it means that Sun-Dried Mod Brick doesn't make your build that much faster anymore. -15%, honestly, not even that much. Loki, just for reference, Loki has an innate -10% building build point, whatever it's called, and I barely feel that. Dude, if I play Loki or Odin, I don't feel like I'm building faster or slower. So it's not that much. Locust Swarm, divine damage reduced from 0.4 to 0.35, so it's like a 15% reduction in damage or something like that. Is it 15? No. Yeah, 12% damage, or 12% or so. This god power, when it really hit, it could end games by itself. It's not going to be as good anymore, which is good, because if you just get a really good Locust Swarm early on in Heroic, the game can end there, and I think we're going to see many fewer of these this time around. So that's good. Force of the West technology, siege and myth unit damage increase reduced from +20% to +15%. This is the one that enables catapults in the Heroic Age, so obviously this is a great technology with the fortifications buff. So this nerf, somewhat significant I guess, but it's still a ridiculously good technology. Ancestors duration reduced from 60 to 55. This is so that whenever you use Ancestors on your opponent's economy, you're not going to be able to effectively negate a large part of their economy for at least 5 seconds less. It seems like Ancestors used on opponent's economy was just ridiculously oppressive, and this is an attempt to negate that a bit. Scarabs, cost reduced from 300 food, 18 favor to 240 food, 18 favor. Scorpion Man hit points increased by 50 HP. And Serpent now has 0.1 multiplier versus Ox cards to match a multiplier versus Villagers. Cool changes. Scarab in particular should be interesting. This unit is actually very useful and a bit underrated. I know that some people really like this, and with this cost reduction in food, 300 food was so much. 200 food, 240 food, much more doable, and should be interesting if maybe we get to see a bit more Scarab gameplay. Scarab Empowerment Building attack interval reduced from 0.5x. This is what they mentioned earlier. Basically, when you have a Pharaoh empowering a building with the fortifications buff, it was just ridiculous the amount of damage that it could deal. So this is to nerf that part of the Egyptian game plan. Especially with Ra, this was oppressive, but I guess for all Egyptians. Siege Tower. Attack interval reduced from 4 to 3.5, and damage reduced from 250 to 220 crush. So this is a buff to Siege Tower. It took 4 seconds to make one attack with the Siege Tower, so having that reduced by a bit, and even though it's less crush damage, it's a definite buff to it. Means that you can attack and then move around a bit and then attack easier. The unit basically becomes a lot easier to use with this change here. So I like to see that. Like I said, melee siege weapons underused in the current patch, or the one before this patch here. So any attempt to make melee siege better, I like it. Egyptian Watchtower cost increased from 100 gold to 100 wood and 100 gold. So this is a significant change for Egyptians. We saw that happening for Greeks as well. Probably gonna see it across the board. But for Egyptians who used to get it for free, now actually having to spend 200 resources on it, it's gonna mean that they're gonna have to change build orders around a bit. Usually Egyptians won't even bother getting wood, except for just that extra bit that they need for pickaxe. So yeah, Egyptian players gonna need to figure out, do we need Watchtower? And if you do, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get that extra 100 wood. Migdal Stronghold, build points, same as the Greek fortress, so we love to see that. Norse Pantheon, Uller Ring Oath favor cost reduction of Asgardian Bastion reduced from 60% to 50%. That means that it cost 40 favor to recast it now, and probably gonna cost like 50 favor then, maybe a bit more, not sure, probably 50 favor. It did seem like maybe that was a bit OP whenever you would just spam those Asgardian Bastions. Frey did seem like the best Norse god in the current patch, in the current meta, so any nerf to Frey probably a good idea. Duracell's rune, this is the one that makes myth units faster and regenerate a bit, is buffed from 0.25 to half hit points per second, and it applies to Titans. This doesn't matter anything. A myth unit has like 700 HP. In the heroic age, you know, a battle board, I think it's 700 HP. And then having half a hit point per second regenerated, it means that if you have 10% HP on a battle board, let's just say 100 HP, it's gonna take you 1200 seconds. That's 20 minutes to regenerate. It's really stupid. This part, they may as well remove it, I think. And it applying to Titans, that's just a big meme, because Titans have, I think, 27,000 HP. It's going to take 56,000 seconds to regenerate from to full if you're really low HP. It's a lot of minutes. It's like an hour almost. I'm not an hour, but is it? Almost. Flaming weapons duration reduced from 50 to 45 seconds, similar to the bronze nerf. And I guess like they retain their core value, but some of the oppressive parts of these god powers, I guess, are gone, where you just keep up the pressure. You feel like you've already defended against flaming weapons on bronze, but it just keeps staying there. So I think this is gonna have some significance in some games, sure, but for the most part, they do retain their value, their core power. Vidar Inferno now has 0.1 times multiplier versus farms. This is what they do to all the god powers. Basically, whenever a god power destroys farms, this feels so oppressive, and any change to this, I think, is good. Once again, a nerf to Frey, which I do like to see, because he did seem to outperform the other Norse. Iron Harry cost reduced from 175 gold, 15 favor, to 150 gold. Slight buff. Battle Boar HP, oh, there we go, 650 HP to 720. So I was almost right. Now it's 720. And Fenris Wolf's training time reduced from 14 to 12. That's a really good buff to the wolves, because the issue is you need not just one, you need not just three, you need 5 of these before you optimize the gain that you get from having a pack of these out. So having them train faster means that you can build a second temple, and then you just train 4 wolves from obviously 2 temples, and 24 seconds later you're gonna have 5 of these out. You know, from the moment you hit Mythic Age. It's a nice power spike. If you hit early tier, you have the favor for it, you have 2 temples. Could be interesting. I'm gonna try this out for sure. With Loki, Odin, or Thor. Probably Loki should be really good. And you can even add to it the Thurisaz rune for what it's worth with that ever so slight buff here. Hero units Herser adjusted as follows. Training time, this is huge. Train time from temple reduced from 22.5 down to 16 seconds. And training time from Great Hall increased from 15 to 16. So it's the same in the Great Hall as the temple. This is embarrassing. I didn't even know there was a difference. I've played so many Norse games, I didn't even realize this. Goldie train time 16 seconds, so it's just making it the same across the board. Either way, anyone who's seen me play Norse recently will know that I like getting her temple up as soon as possible. And I mean that literally as soon as possible. And then start training Hersers from the get-go. This is gonna be a nice buff to my playstyle here. You're gonna get those Hersers out even quicker, and you can start picking up relics, start scouting the map even faster. It's gonna be sick. I wonder if it's gonna be OP. I think Norse already is really good with Hersers in the early game, and this is just gonna emphasize that playstyle. So Thor, Loki, very, very comfortable just spamming Hersers early on, and this is just going to make it even more so for these 2 gods in particular. RC train time reduced from 12 to 10. What does it say? The now removed Great Hall train speed multiplier of 1.5 is already factored into the mentioned train time. As an effort to streamline the train speeds of the Great Hall and the train rates more generally, this has resulted in a noticeable increase in rating cavalry train speed. We will be keeping a close eye on how this pans out. That's crazy. 10 seconds for RC. Norse is just gonna be so much faster right now with the training time off to Hearses and the RC and even the Jarls. This was like the biggest downside to Jarls, is that you needed, like, if you want to effectively spam Jarls, you're gonna need like 6-7 Great Halls or so. With this buff here, you're gonna need 1 or 2 fewer, and it's really good. Hoscals, dude, even a Hoscal training time reduction in conjunction with all the other fortress type human soldiers. But 6.5 seconds, that's nothing. So yeah, dude, I think Norse is gonna really be great with all these changes. There's no direct stats benefit to the Norse units. I think they're already super strong. The big downside to Norse is how slow they are to get going sometimes. This is gonna be so good. I can't wait to play Norse here. I wonder if it's gonna be broken. Hope not. I hope they'll be in line with the other civs. It'll be interesting to see. Portable ram damage increased from 5 heck 50 crush to 5 heck 60 crush. So that's a nice, almost 20% buff to portable rams versus buildings. Very good for once again for the melee siege weapon. So that's, I was just saying, there's no direct stats buff to the Norse units, and then we do have this one, so that's gonna be good. And also the same fortress change applies to the hill fort, of course. Wait, Great Hall no longer trains units 1.5 times faster, so maybe, oh no. Does it mean that there's no change at all? I'm not quite sure. If anyone out there in the comments knows this, I'm eager to know. Is this a buff to RC and Jarls, or is it a nerf, or is it nothing at all? I can't quite decipher it from here. For Atlanteans, this was, everyone pretty much agreed, the weakest civ currently, so I'm expecting some good Atlantean buffs here. I'm hoping for it at least. Kronos Temporal Chaos cost reduced from 200 wood, 100 gold, 10 favor to 150 wood, 75 gold, 10 favor. This is the technology that allows Kronos to time shift 3 buildings at once, and it lowers the cost of towers and palaces. So what is it? 75 resources you save on this. You only spend 225 resources on getting this. Still a luxury technology to get. It doesn't really benefit you much, but in the mid game, if you've got the resources for it and you can see some benefit in getting it, definitely go for it. Not sure if it's that impactful. Like I said, it's mid to late game. Yeah, we'll see. Lido, Perception, Research Time reduced from 40 to 30 seconds. This is the one that gives you plus 10% favor from your oracles, plus they see a bit further. Hephaestus, Revenge, Research Time reduced from 40 to 20 seconds. This is impactful. When you go Leto and you're spamming robots, these technologies that Leto provides take so long to get to. So having the time of Hephaestus' Revenge makes it a lot better to spam robots out. Really good buff to Leto here. Not sure if it's going to be enough to make her viable, but it's nice to see. It's a step in the right direction for sure. The Terran Gate can now be cast over as Guardian Hill Fort. Sick. I didn't know they couldn't, but it's a good change. Promethean, train time reduced from 18 to 14 seconds. Prometheans have been nerfed over some patches, and they still see some play, but not that much. So in the mid game, this means that you can spam them out a bit more reliably when you have 6+ oracles or so. You're probably still going to need 2 temples, but it's going to be more reliable, so good change. Going to make Kronos around us a bit better in that regard. Symphalian Bird now has ballistics by default on its ranged attacks. That's great, that's cool. Symphalian Bird never really saw play, costs a lot and didn't seem to do that much. We'll see how much this actually matters, how much of the inefficiency of the Symphalian Bird was due to not having ballistics. I'm not sure of it. This could be cool. If Symphalian Birds are really good now, this could change things up where you get a really good flying, ranged raider unit in the heroic age. Could be very good. Caladria now have a lot more HP, well, 20 more HP, and pacified duration actually scales with age. That's interesting. Duration, so in Mythic Age, it's going to be plus 40%. It's not that impactful. It's not that impactful, I think, but it's good. Once again, it doesn't hurt. It's nice. The hit points for sure going to be nice, because Greek heroes in particular seem to deal very, very well with the Caladria. Lampades cost reduced from 250 gold, 25 favor to 220 gold, 22 favor, so just a slight buff in that regard. Orgus, damage increase from 40 to 50 hack. Once again, a slight buff, it's nice. Centimanus, train time reduced from 24 to 18. That's a good change. Centimanus is the 4-armed, used to be called Hecke Gigantes. And whenever you use these, I think it's when you just hit Mythic Age and you want to train out maybe 2 additionals of these out, and then you want to use Vortex. So similar to what I was talking about with the Fenris Wolves, this makes it easier to hit that power spike where you have a few extra of these out. It's a nice buff. I would probably like to see some HP buff to this unit as well. Wouldn't go astray, but yeah. Oracle Hero cost reduced from 40 food, 60 gold, 1 favor to 30 food, 45 gold. So what is that? 10, 15, 25% decrease in cost. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You can really make some build orders where you go for early relics with Atlanteans now. That should really favor you. So if you find a really good early relic, you can definitely just go for the hero Oracle and then immediately grab it. Avely has a really good... Avely, he's like one of the OGs, really good player. He's got a really good build order with Atlanteans where you just go for immediate Temple and then you go for an immediate Oracle hero. I can see that working out really well with this change. And then you just go and grab all the relics on the map. Destroyer hero damage bonus multiplier versus buildings increased from 8 times to 9 times. Okay, good. Fanatic hero damage increased from 9 to 12 hack. And damage bonus multiplier versus infantry and cavalry reduced from 2 times to 1.5. And damage multiplier versus... Yeah, so this is because Fanatic heroes, whenever they would hit something like myth units, Greek heroes, siege weapons, things that are in the front line but aren't infantry or cavalry, it would feel really bad with the Fanatic. So this is an attempt at making that feel less bad. Greek heroes in particular. But also, I'm sure there are other examples of this. Siege weapons, like I said. They're going to be better generalist units, and they won't suffer as much from hitting Greek units, Greek heroes, Elepolis, siege towers, stuff like that. Destroyer adjusted as follows. Damage bonus multiplier versus buildings increased from 8 times to 9 times, and training time reduced as well. Same with Fanatic, also training time reduced. And we see the same with a normal Fanatic, of course. So, what training time? Significant training time reductions for the Fanatic as well as the Destroyer. I think this is gonna help Atlanteans out a lot, especially, I gotta say, Kronos and Gaia. They have access to Rhea, and Gaia has access to Oceanus as well. So Gaia can get some really good Fanatics, and then just one early palace, and you train Fanatics extremely quickly. That should be interesting. I think that should be hopefully very good for Gaia because she's suffering a bit right now. Uranus, I hate to say it, but Uranus doesn't get too much out of this. Maybe the Destroyer aspect, actually. Come to think of it, Uranus benefits from the Destroyer aspect for sure. So he's not left out at all. Fire ship, hack damage increase from 20 to 25. This is in line with hammer boats. Atlanteans was honestly unplayable on water due to this fire ship being just worse than hammer boats. So this is a great change. And the same fortress change applies to the palace. For Chinese, favor is adjusted as follows. Rate reduced for the first 750 tiles owned from... Oh my god, I'm not gonna read this. I'm gonna read this here instead. This should result in a slight reduction in favor in the early game, but a slight increase in favor for a more well-expanded base in the mid and late game, which results in a total favor buff overall compared to before at an equal amount of tiles owned when you have more than 2,250 tiles covered. So that's the breaking point. 2,250 tiles. I mean, this is Greek to me. I don't know what these tiles measures means. But it's... I mean, it's a nerf for early game, buff for late game. Let's just put it like that. That's probably good. It means that classical age myth unit spam gonna be less good. And we definitely saw some chillin' Yahtzee abuse that was very, very annoying to play against. Hopefully that's gonna mean a nerf to that kind of playstyle. Chio, ridiculously strong minor god. If there was one strong minor god in the last patch, it was Chio. So expecting some real nerfs here. Son of Loong no longer increases flash strike damage by plus 20 hack. That's great. Now gives Yahtzee plus 25% hack damage. So the Yahtzee are now going to be more like bruisers. You have to get in there for a prolonged period of time before you can actually kill a villager or a Toxodi or a backline unit. Like you need to be in there for longer than just in and out, because that was unhealthy play. Great change. Rage of Slaughter research time reduced from 40 to 30. Cost reduced from 200 wood 10 favor to 150 wood 10 favor. So, yeah. I think generally, perfect nerf to Yahtzee here. Love to see that. Hopefully they're no longer OP and broken. Maybe we'll see them played in a slightly different way here. That would be cool. Lightning weapons now 15 seconds instead of 20 and applies to friendly heroes. So when you have like 5 pioneers in your early army, you can use lightning weapons without feeling bad about it. I love that change. Hope it's not broken. 15 seconds is still a long time, and it's still a really good god power. Just hope it's not broken with the hero part. How to Sinister Defiance armor vulnerability earned from nearby military units increased from -1% to -2% per unit. Maximum hack and pierce armor vulnerability limit increased from -25% to -30% vulnerability. Now also applies to flying Cheongchis. So that means you need 15 enemy units nearby, and then you're gonna have significant armor values to your Cheongchi. Pretty cool. That upgrade is gonna be really good for the Cheongchi. And I'm hopefully not too worried about this, because we saw the favor change, as I mentioned earlier. Early favor generation is less proficient for the Chinese, so hopefully that does mean that this is not going to be something broken that a lot of people are going to abuse. Hopefully not. Flaming Blood myth units damage area radius increased from 3 to 4. This is because turtles, the big ass turtles that you get from the dock that is amphibious, it actually didn't work on those. So now with this radius increase, it goes from 3 to 4. This is because of me. You can thank me for this change. I said this to the developers. I'm making an impact, a positive impact on the world here. Not sure if we're gonna see this technology used much anyways. It doesn't seem like a lot of people favor it, but it's gonna be cool maybe. Yahtzee movement speed reduced from 5.5 to 5.3, so a nerf in the raiding aspect as well, and even an even bigger nerf than the one that we already saw, from 15 to 10 innate flash strike damage. Recharge time slightly buffed, and a slight nerf to pierce armor. So yeah, hopefully this is gonna put Yahtzee in a place where they're still usable, but not abusable. Cheongchi now also deals 6 crush damage. Holy, hack damage reduced from 18 to 16. This should allow the Cheongchi to serve a little less more of a siege weapon and less of a general brawler, as that's overlapping a bit with the new Yahtzee direction. Yeah, I guess. Cool change. This gives Chinese the option to actually go for some sieging options. Combine that with the town center range reduction. Maybe you can use Cheongchi to take down early towers. You know, just get 2 really quick Cheongchi, and then you have pioneers sitting there on the tower, killing your enemy heroes or so. It's gonna be interesting. I like this change. Once again, not too worried about it. I don't think it's gonna be super broken because of the favor difference. So yeah, hopefully it's not broken. Hopefully it's just fun and good to play with. Killin area heal now increases by 20% rate in Heroic and Mythic Age. Area heal rate reduced from 1 to, whoa, half an HP per second. Area heal rate. area heal. Is it like a 50? Is it like a 50% nerf to the healing? It must be. That's a huge nerf to the healing aspect of the chillin. They were really good, but I didn't expect that much of a nerf. They're still gonna be good. The special attack is really sick for raiding. Wen, that's the heroic age water myth unit. Max shield point is now increased by plus 20% in the mythic age. Cool. Poucher crush damage increase from 15 to 20 and a slight decrease in cost. That's the myth unit that eats other human units and then can spit them out as well. It's more of a crush. The crush damage is cool because Tauche also has Drought God power. So you combine that with the Tauche, maybe one or two of these units, and you can definitely threaten a town center or a Migdal or a fortress a bit better now. Hundun, Banish, Divine damage increased from 30 to 40. That's significant because the upgrade that you get with this unit actually makes this more potent as well, so look for this unit to potentially be really, really good right now. Underrated, underused myth unit, but with this change, I think you really gotta look for this Banish ability to potentially be really, really good. Movement speed, slight increase, can now ground target the Banish ability. I thought you could do that. You can't. Well, you can now. I never knew how to use this unit. I guess it was because you couldn't ground target it. I see. And we see White Horse Cavalry, Tiger Cavalry getting a decrease in training time, like every other Fortress type unit. It's gonna be really good. White Horse Cavalry was a bit, and both of these units were kind of hard to get out, and it's gonna be even better now. So I'd say a good buff to Chinese here. Wow, this is a big one. Kuafu cost reduced from 50 food 100 gold 17 favor to 50 food 100 gold 15 favor. This is to account for the slight loss in favor in the early game. Love this change. Really love this change. It makes making Kuafu better, spamming classical age myth units worse. I love that. Kuafu should definitely... It seems like whenever people play Chinese at the top level, it was all about spamming classical age myth units, so this is so good. Such a nice change. Hopefully it's going to turn out good. Doc favorite land radius reduced from 12 to 10. Chinese had some really ridiculous favorites on water. It's going to be better now. Baole, same as every other fortress. Tower emplacements now have a minimum traits of 4. This is a big one. Whenever you did the aforementioned military barracks tower emplacement rush, now you can actually put villagers beneath the building and it's not going to hit those villagers. So the Chinese tower rush with the tower emplacements, big nerf. Love to see that. Great change. Okay, that's it for the balance changes. Yep. Love these changes. Really good. Only some ever so slight changes here. Nothing major. Just like I said in the beginning of the video, kind of fine tunings. So I'm excited to play this. Yeah, should be really good. By the way, I'm going to be hosting a show match with Kvoth versus Matador. Haven't quite figured out the time, but it's going to be on this new patch. Make sure that you follow me on Twitch, otherwise I'll try to upload it on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.